I'd love to go up against one of those guys. Make a nice break from those accounting cream puffs you keep sending me.
In moments, you will no longer seek communication with you. Will each be part of me, and together, we will be complete.
So, the new Tron Ares trailer just came out, and there's a lot of unanswered questions that need answering. What we do know is that Ares is supposed to be the antagonist of the film, and he's supposed to be humanity's first encounter with AI. But we still don't know who he really is, where he comes from, or who created him. However, I may have the answers you're looking for. What if Ares isn't just an AI program stepping into the real world, but he's actually the original villain from the original Tron movie, the MCP? Or the Master Control Program. The MCP is a tyrannical AI program from the 1982 film that tried to break out of the digital world and seize control of real-world systems. It was created by Walter Gibbs and vastly improved by Edward Dillinger. During the rule of the MCP, many programs were enslaved and rebelled against the program's henchmen led by Commander Sark. It was supposedly destroyed when Tron threw a specially encoded disk into its base that was created by Kevin Flynn. What if that was just one version? What if someone actually created a copy of the MCP that actually survived, but partially? Before I go deeper into this pit of despair that I'm about to go into, I should probably explain to you the different types of systems that the Tron franchise already has. The first grid system ever created was the ENCOM mainframe system. This is the main location of the first Tron movie, and it's the system that was taken over by the MCP. The one that most of us are probably more familiar with is the Tron system. This system was created by Kevin Flynn as a means to create, invent, and conduct experiments at a much more accelerated rate than in the real world, allowing people immersed in the system to solve problems in a fraction of the time it would take in the real world. That's always been Kevin Flynn's goal. There is also the possibility of a third system that was created and that we might see in Tron Ares, that is completely separate from these systems, and may be the cause of these programs taking over the physical world. This theory suggests that Ares is actually the result of an underground organization that is hacking into the ENCOM mainframe system to retrieve fragments of the MCP. And they use these fragments to reconstruct and rebuild the MCP into the program called Ares. This organization may be led by Ed Dillinger Sr. When Tron and Kevin defeated the MCP, Dillinger was exposed as a corrupt CEO that was stealing Flynn's games and passing them off as his own. He ended up going to prison as a result of this. After the ENCOM mainframe system was set free, it's possible that rogue engineers who worked for Dillinger found fragments of the MCP within the mainframe system, although it took years to make anything out of it. These fragments were used to seed a new kind of program they called Ares, designed to be more adaptable, human-like, and capable of physical manifestation. If this theory is true, then that creates a whole different outlook on Ares than what we originally thought. I just dished out a ton of claims here on what might come next in the franchise without giving any proof, but I'm telling you right now, I did find some proof, and I'm going to tell you about it in just a second. The Tron Ares trailer already tells us that this is the first time that we've ever seen a digital program, AI, to ever escape the system and go into the real world. You could argue that Cora escaped into the real world too, but when she did that, she became a physical body instead of a digital body. AI taking over the world in the Tron franchise is not something new by any means. The MCP's original goals have always been to take control of the physical world. Dillinger used the MCP to help him steal the games from Flynn, so it makes sense for him to bring them back and realign their goals with each other. It doesn't explicitly say in the Tron movie how long Dillinger goes to prison for, but in the game Tron 2.0, it suggested that he faces up to 5 years in prison, which means he would be released from prison in 1987, which gives him more than enough time to rebuild the Master Control program. He didn't just start with the MCP though. In the short film called Tron the Next Day, there's a new company that's explained, and it's called Dillinger Systems. It's said that it becomes the biggest competitor against ENCOM. Tron the Next Day was released on the Blu-ray edition of Tron Legacy in April 2011. It's supposed to fill in the gaps between the two movies by using archived footage of events and movements after Kevin Flynn's disappearance. It also sets up the story for a third film, but the third film that they were trying to set up probably isn't the one that's about to be released. It also seems possible that Dillinger Systems was a front for hacking into the ENCOM mainframe system. The short film even shows a person getting caught and arrested for hacking into the mainframe. This guy said that he did it all by himself, and it was only so that he could put a little Easter egg into it that says Flynn lives on everyone's screens.
I like to think of it as more of an Easter egg than a virus.
Was the group Flynn Lives involved?
No, I acted alone. It was so cool.
He could have put that up as a distraction for what he was really doing. And he probably wasn't working alone. He may have been working for Dillinger Systems to hack the ENCOM mainframe system so that he could access the fragmented coding of the MCP so that they could extract it and reprogram it. Alright, now that we have that out of the way, this is where things get really spicy and juicy. And tender. We now know that Dillinger Systems is the biggest threat to ENCOM, and his company may be hacking into the ENCOM mainframe system to receive the MCP. But I think there is more to Dillinger Systems than we think, and there is proof of this. We've all seen the photos by now that Ares has a triangular disc, which does suggest he's a part of a whole new grid. If we look even closer at this image, we can see that this disc also has Dillinger Systems etched into it. This is proof that Dillinger also created his own grid system, where his company can rebuild the MCP in a safe environment and that only they can control. Now, a big talking point is Kevin Flynn, because how can he come back from the last movie if he absorbed Clue's consciousness and supposedly died, along with the system? Even though he allegedly died, he's supposed to be a major plot point in Tron Ares. We've already seen hints that he's still alive from the short film where there's a movement called Flynn Lives, which the majority of it is run by Sam Flynn. He might have even survived in the same exact way that the MCP survived. There's two great possibilities here. One of them is that his system gets rebooted. I think that this reboot option might be pretty good, but it might require someone from the outside to actively access it and actively reboot it. Another theory is that Flynn's consciousness might manifest itself in a new way, perhaps becoming a new program or a new entity entirely. The awakening of Ares might trigger the awakening of Flynn somehow, causing them both to be kind of connected to each other with different goals in mind. That may be a stretch, but I think it just sounds pretty awesome. In recent interviews, director Joachim Rønning described Ares as a Pinocchio figure. Ares wants to be a real boy. We talked a lot about him almost being an infant, discovering the real world for the first time, and how he wanted the audience to see the world through his eyes. The little things that we take for granted or don't see anymore. That was important. And then a bigger theme for the film is what it takes and what it means to be human, especially in this case because he's a computer program. Ares is the antagonist of the film, and yet we see the world through his eyes, which I think is a very exciting approach since we don't really see that very often. In the case of this theory, since the MCP is being reborn, he might not even remember what happened in his past life. However, his goals and ambitions are the same. Some fans do argue that Ares is a brand new program meant to reflect modern AI anxieties and the rise of artificial consciousness. That may be partially true, but in Tron, nothing is random. The franchise thrives on symmetry and legacy. The visual similarities between Ares' design and the MCP's red glow aesthetic, the focus on AI entering the human world, and the narrative return of Flynn all point to the direction of that this is the MCP, this is who he is. None of this is accidental. If Disney wanted to reintroduce Tron for a new generation while still honoring its roots, this would be the perfect way to do it. Is Ares the next step in digital evolution, or is he the MCP reborn, repackaged, and sent into the real world? If this theory holds true, then Tron Ares isn't just about a program crossing into humanity. It's about the return of a villain that we thought was long dead. What do you think? Could Ares really be the MCP in disguise? Let me know in the comments. I've swapped my thoughts, and if you want to see my thoughts on a Minecraft movie, then click right up here. And I'll see you in the next one.